Hi, I'm Gemma from Generation Strength and welcome to the 30-day Strength from Home Workout Challenge where we're working out every single day for the next 30 days. Today is day 22, we've got AMRAP, which means as many reps as possible. So we're going to be doing a full body circuit. It's going to be high intensity. We're going to be performing as many reps as we can within 1 minute with a 30-second rest after each exercise. So we're going to start with a traditional warm-up. So we're going to take the center of the mat. So feet pointing forward, soft bend in the knees. I'm rotating from side to side, keeping my hips forward, rotating the upper body, taking my elbows fully to the left and then fully to the right. Chest tall, look straight ahead. From here we're going to go down into a squat. We're going to come down and sweep the floor. I take the hips back as if I'm sitting down on a chair. Keep the legs about hip width, shoulder width apart, whatever's more comfortable. I sweep the floor with my fingertips, keeping the knees out, extending the arms up above my head. Full range of motion. Again, nice and slow, coming as low as you can. Stop at the top, change directions. So as I come down, I shift my hips back and keep the weight on the heels as I go up and rotate. Now we're going to take the feet a little bit wider, taking the knees out, coming down into a wide squat, taking the hands up above head, palms are facing each other. I'm reaching up as tall as I can, keeping the shoulders down so I'm not shrugging the shoulders up. Nice hip opener, taking the knees as far out to the side as I can. And I'm going down deep into the center. I'm pushing straight down so I'm not coming forward. My chest is staying up, and I'm pushing up off the heels as I come up. Now, center of the mat, we're going to do a downward dog. From here, bend the knees, back is flat. Bring the right foot forward, take it out to the side. Open up the hips. Opposite hand rotates around. So I'm warming up the shoulder. Taking the shoulder through its full range of motion, keeping the arm straight. As I rotate round, following my thumb, rotating the neck at the same time. Front hip is open and out. Hands back to center, taking the foot back, coming up. Left foot through to the outside of the hand, relax the back foot. Shoulder rotations on the opposite side, opening up the front hip. As I come round, I pull my arm back and get a nice stretch in the front of the shoulder. Sweeping the floor, coming back round. Back to center, take the leg back to downward dog. From here, we're going to walk our feet into our hands, so you're going to bend your knees and jump. Come up slowly, keeping the back straight. Straight into leg swings. Hand behind, feel the glute. Squeeze the glute. Kick the leg forward. As soon as the glute engages, we kick the leg forward so that we're not coming too far back and then hitting the lower back. We're warming up the hips, activating the glute. Nice, slow and controlled movement. Switch sides. So my toe is pointing forward and the leg that's down. My hip is softly bent. Looking straight ahead, keeping my chest up. Kicking the leg back, squeezing the glute and propelling it forward. Last warm-up move, ankle flexibility. Come close to the wall, split stance. Bring the knee into the wall till you almost touch. Keep the heel down. Take the knee to the outside of the foot towards the little toe into the midfoot. hold it at the end. So when you're close to the wall, hold it for a second. Helps to increase ankle flexibility. Switch sides. So again, I take the knee to midfoot, I take the knee out to the little toe, and I keep the heel down. Hold it a little bit close to the wall so I can get full ankle flexibility. One more. Okay, grab a drink, warm up done. We're going to go straight into the exercises. So for as many reps as possible, you're going to need resistance band. I have two sizes. This one's a bit thinner, so it's a little bit easier for some of the isometric work that I'm going to be doing with the smaller muscle groups. I've also got a thicker band for when I'm working more muscles. So for example, when I'm doing a squat or when I'm doing a deadlift. So grab a resistance band. We're going to be doing 1 minute on with 30-second rest in between. The first exercise we've got is a squat. So resistance band goes under the center of the foot. I'm bringing the band up so it's resting on my arms, and I'm holding my hands together. From here I'm going down in the squat and I'm coming up. So again, we're doing 1 minute, so it's as many reps as you can do in 1 minute. So you can go as fast or as slow as you need to. Pushing, working hard, but going at your own pace. So when I come down into the squat, I take the hips back, I open up the knees, and I come back to the top. Okay, keep the elbows up, knees out, so think pushing against the bands, a nice cue to make sure that you keep the knees out. Going down as low as you can, coming up. Resistance band is going to take us up, and it's going to be a slight sticking point. So it's going to make the top move, it'll become up a little bit harder, a little bit more challenging just the body weight. Sitting the hips back, keeping the weight on the heels, push through, keep going. You've got 30 seconds rest afterwards to recover. Okay, from here, we're going to go into a shoulder press. I'm going to keep the lighter resistance band. So again, under the center of the feet, bring the feet slightly together. We're going to keep the same position as the squat, but I'm going to hold the band. From here, I'm going to bend the knees, squeeze the bum, tuck the lower back, and I'm going to push overhead and back down. So the band is staying on top of my clavicle, on top of my shoulders, and I'm pushing up and I'm straightening the hands. I'm keeping my elbows tucked in. So don't be flaring the elbows out to the side. We want to keep them in front of us. As I push up, make sure that the arms are in line with the ears. Most people tend to push up like this, but then we're just loading the front of the shoulder a bit too much. We're not hitting the mid-shoulder and the rear delts. So it's important that when you bring the band up, in line with the ear. Okay, and I'm not arching my lower back. I'm squeezing the bum, and I keep my lower back flat. So, holding here, elbows up, I'm pushing the band up. So, elbows are out in front, squeezing at the top, feeling it in the back of my arms and the front of the shoulders. 30-second rest, we're going to go into bicep curl. I'm going to keep the resistance band where it is, but if you want to make it a little bit more challenging, you can with the bicep. I recommend keeping the same band. You can make it more challenging by stepping wider and grabbing further down. Make it easier by bringing the feet a little bit close together. So, grabbing the resistance band here, slight bend in the knees, and I'm bicep curling up. Okay, as many reps as possible, going as fast as you can, but with good form. So, making sure that the elbow comes all the way down, so I fully stretch the muscle. We don't want to be holding it here and doing bicep curls. We also don't want to be rocking back. Nice and stable base, the movement just coming from my hands. I'm not thrusting up the resistance band. I'm going to the top of the move, so my hand is touching, or close to touching my shoulder. Fully down, back up, As I come up, I bring the elbows up a little bit, engage the bicep. Keep going, push through as many reps as you can. Squeeze the core as you bring it up. From here, I'm going to come down, I'm going to work the back. I'm going to grab a harder resistance band. So when you put it around your feet, have it around mid-foot, we don't want it to come and slip up off the toes. From here, the shoulders are back and down, and I'm sitting up straight, so the lower back isn't flexed. I'm not in this position. I'm coming up, straightening the back, chest back, looking straight ahead. I'm grabbing the band, and I'm rowing it into where my belly button is. So make sure you're not rowing up, we're rowing down. Flexing the feet. I want to make it a little bit more challenging. I can bring further down the band. And as I come in, I'm squeezing the core, I'm sat up straight. As I come forward, I keep the arms engaged, so I want to be rotating around the shoulder. Elbows stay down and back. I squeeze my shoulder blades together. I'm really feeling it in my upper back. Not so much in my arms. Imagine that the motion is coming from the shoulder blades, that the back is pulling the band.
10 seconds. Rest.
Now we're going on to a hamstring move, similar to a deadlift. We're going to do good mornings. So I'm going to use the heavier band because I'm working multiple muscles. So I can go with a heavier band. So I'm going to step on it and I'm going to bring it around my neck. So hands by the side of the band, feet about hip width apart. Really important that the back stays flat from here. I stand up. So I'm driving the hips back. Keeping the back flat, I'm really engaging the hamstrings. As I come up, I squeeze the glute to the top, but I'm not extending my lower back. Tucking the elbows in, I'm squeezing the glute at the top. My knees are staying relatively relaxed.
Halfway there.
So what we don't want to do is come forward, extend the knees and extend the lower back. I want to feel it working the hamstrings and working the glutes. I'm going to feel it a little bit in the lower back, but it shouldn't be the main muscle that you're working. If you're really feeling it in your lower back, then we can come a little bit lower. Don't go up as high, or we can change the resistance band, make it a little bit easier. Now we're going to take the band over, we're going to be doing push-ups with the band, but we're going to do it in a bent knee position. So, it's around my upper back, grabbing the band. From here, I'm down into the push-up position. I come down, push up. So, the resistance band's working as I come up. As I go down, I'm not feeling much resistance from the band. As I come down, I want to make sure that my chin will touch the floor before my forehead. Again, it's as many reps as you can do, so if you need to take a break, hold it for a second, as many as you can do within 1 minute.
Halfway there.
So the band, you want it around the upper arm, and then wrapped around your hands. In. Squeeze the bum, squeeze the core as you come down. Push up. We're back to squats. my position, my wrists are facing up, my elbows are up. As I come down, I push out with my knees so that my knees are not coming in and I'm not forward over the band. So, elbows stay up and I'm holding this position. Or we can hold the band at the top, keep the elbows up, whatever's more comfortable. So I'm going as low as I can, the band is resting on top of the shoulder. As I come up, I take the legs from bend to straight and I squeeze the band. Don't lock out the knees at the top, we want a little bit of a soft bend in them. Come down, weight on the heels, so I push up off the heels and straighten the legs. Go as low down as you can. As we come up, squeezing in the front of the legs and squeezing the quads, squeezing the glutes too. So 2 shoulder press. Remember when we've got the shoulder press, we're holding it in front. We press up, and I want my arm in line with my ear. We don't have to go so far back because then we might end up arching the back. Also, we don't want to get too far forward because we're just working the anterior deltoid, which is already over dominant anyway. You might find that it's difficult to get in this position because you don't have great range of motion in your shoulder. Just go back as far as you can. So I'm bending the knees, back is straight. Coming in, bring my feet slightly closer together to make it a little bit easier. So the band resting on the outside of my shoulder. So from the front, elbows up, pushing up so my arms are in line with my ear. Going back down, really feeling it, working my shoulder, pushing my abs, engaging the core as I push up. Again, as many reps as possible, as many as you can do with good form. You have to take a little break in between, take a little rest, take a few seconds, and continue. Into bicep curls. So I want to make it more challenging. I can take the legs wider and come down further with the band so that there's more tension as I pull up. I want to make it a bit easier. I can bring the legs closer together. Palms facing up. Remember, fully extending the arms, shoulders back and down. Slight bend in the knee. So here I'm bracing the core. Coming down, way up. Hold at the top, squeeze the bicep, take it back down. Try to keep the shoulders back a little bit, multiple times to round forward and coming down. I want to keep the shoulders back, chest is up, and we're bringing the arms up to the shoulders, not taking the shoulders down to meet the arm. Keep pushing, 10 more seconds. Down seated row, I'm going to grab my tougher resistance band, taking it around the mid of the foot. Remember, straight back, shoulders back, chest is up. So I have a neutral spine all the way down. From here, grabbing the band, pulling it in line with my belly button. So I'm sitting up as tall as I can, flexing my feet, trying to bring the elbows back in together. Imagine you're squeezing a tennis ball between the shoulders. Let the resistance band come back. I want to go slowly and controlled instead of pulling back, looking forward. Okay, we don't want to be moving the hips. The hips stay stationary. It's just the arms that are moving, that are doing part of the movement. Start moving the back, and we start incorporating lower back, and we're not really going to hit the muscle that we want to, which is the upper back. Strong core, sit up tall. Create space between the shoulders and the ears. We don't want to have the shoulders up as we row in. One more. Back to good mornings. So hamstring exercise, I'm standing on the band by hip width apart, taking it around the neck. From here I'm holding the band back, bringing my elbows in. Back is nice and flat. Hamstrings are loaded, slight bend in the knee. Coming up. Okay, as I come up, I squeeze the glute. I straighten the legs, but not fully extending the knees. Slight soft bend. Pushing up off the heels. Keep the neck down. Most people are tending to look up first. You want to keep neutral spine. Go down, my head follows. As I come up, my head lifts at the same time. Make sure that you're coming up and you're just squeezing the glute at the top, as opposed to coming up and down and doing this motion. Because then we're putting a lot of pressure on the lower back. And it's a hamstring and glute exercise. Nice, slow, controlled movement. Remember, back is flat. Feeling it in the hamstrings. Now we're going back into the press-up position. As many as you can with the resistance band around the upper back. It's wrapped around my shoulders. So around the upper back. Right now I've got the ball just coming back up. If it's a little bit too difficult with the resistance band, take it off and just do it without. Keep the elbows in, so I don't want to be flaring the elbows out. Press the legs if it's a bit more comfortable. Ooh. Keep going. Slow down if you have to. Ooh.
10 seconds.
One more. Of course, the hardest exercise is the last one. One more round. So, I'm going to get my heavier band for the squat. Really going to push it. Last round. Coming up. Holding the band. Remember, back is flat. Chest is up. Sitting back down into a chair. Keep my knees out. Use the band as a cue to make sure that your knees are pushing out against the band. Coming up so that the legs are straight. And I'm squeezing my glutes, but I'm not arching my lower back as I come up. Okay, so from the side, standing up straight. Coming back, try not to lean too far forward.
10 seconds.
One more. Shoulder press. Grind the lighter band to the shoulder press. A little bit more difficult than the squat. Usually requires less weight. So I'm bringing the band up, arms up. So from here I want to keep the knuckles facing the ceiling. Don't want to be in this position and cause a lot of pressure on the wrist. So knuckles to the ceiling, elbows tucked in. I'm pushing up, become slightly narrower. So I'm bringing it down. It's almost resting on my clavicle. And I'm pushing the arms up so they're straight. What we don't want to do is this motion where I'm arching the lower back. You also want to be bouncing the knees up because then we're not really isolating the shoulders. It just becomes a little bit of a push-up, which is fine if you're working towards the end of the time. You're just trying to get in a few extra reps, but you want to try and keep strict form and not bounce the knees too much. It's okay if you have to get the last few in, but as long as the rest of the form is good.
10 seconds.
Squeeze the core as a push-up. One more. 3 exercises left after the bicep curl. So I'm slightly bending the knees. I'm squeezing the core as I bring it up. I'm bringing the hand up to meet the shoulder. Don't let the shoulders drop forward. Slightly narrow grip, so my hands are a little more narrow than my hip. All the way down, all the way up. As I come up, I bring the elbows up. Again, make sure that you're squeezing the core on the back and staying straight. You don't want to come up and arch the lower back. So I'm squeezing the core and I'm bending the knees. It helps me to stay in this position. Reminds me to cue to not come back.
10 seconds.
Keep going, keep pushing. This is one of the hardest workouts I will be doing. Oh, no, not finished. So going down into the seated row is going to give you a little longer to rest. Foot around the middle, remember, up tall. Now we're going to start in 10. So remember, the shoulders are down and back, sitting up tall, pulling the band in to belly button, squeezing the core, come a little bit lower, so you really pull and feel it in the back. You should feel it in the mid back, in the upper back. Think more about pulling it with the back muscles instead of the arms, which can be difficult if you're new to doing resistance band and strength training. It takes a little bit of time to kind of build a mind muscle connection with the back. It's easier with the other muscles, we tend to feel it a little more. But just imagine that something is grabbing your elbows and pulling your elbows back and together, rather than pulling with your arms. Fully extending our arm in front, sitting up. Remember, full range of motion. We don't want to be doing mini moves. Into good mornings. So standing about hip width apart. So as I come up, I squeeze the glute, but my back stays neutral, and the head stays in line. So as I go down, there's a straight line, as opposed to being here. And as I come up, and I squeeze the glutes, almost like a tilt, and the back stays flat, as opposed to coming back here. So put it around your neck, elbows tucked in. Squeeze the core at the bottom. You squeeze the core, we come up. I'm squeezing the bum together at the top of the move, but I'm keeping my lower back neutral, I'm not arching.
Halfway there.
Weight is on the heels, so as I come up, I'm powering up through the heels, and then the knees are going from bent to straight, and I'm squeezing the glutes and the core at the top of the movement. I want to slow it down to make sure that you don't feel it in the lower back. We do have a tendency to pull up with the lower back. It's why it gets tight. Last exercise, toughest exercise, we've got down into a floor, push-up position. So bringing it mid-back, upper back, not too high, because we're here. We're going to come over the top. Oh, I'm looking forward to this one. Waiting until the last possible second. Okay, 2, 1, go. Coming down to my chin, almost touches the mat. Come on, last exercise, keep going. Push.
Halfway there.
Oh, 10 more seconds.
10 seconds.
One more. Oh. Okay. As many reps as possible complete. Well done. I will see you tomorrow.